Hello everyone, I'm Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome to another video. For some reason this is my fourth upload today. I guess I didn't have very much to do today, and it's the sixth in a series of 13 videos I'll be doing. In each one I rank all the episodes of the particular series of the revived era of Doctor Who. Watch until the end to find out my top spot for Series 5. This is a very popular series for Doctor Who fans, so you might have watched it, you might have not. And just a little side note, there will be a couple of big spoilers in this video. I've had some really nice comments on previous videos saying that I don't spoil as often in these videos, but in this video I'm going to, for the sake of explaining why I like them so much. So here is just a bit of information on the series. So I'll be ranking all Series 5 stories of the revived era of Doctor Who. This will not include the Christmas specials of 2009 and 10, so I won't include End of Time or Christmas Carol, but I will include The 11th Hour, The Beast Below, Victory of the Daleks, The Time of Angels, Flesh and Stone, Vampires of Venice, Amy's Choice, The Hungry Earth, Cold Blood, Vincent and the Doctor, The Lodger, and Pandorica Opens and The Big Bang. So that's 13 episodes and 10 different stories. This series is the 11th Doctor's first series, and it includes the companions Amy, Rory and River. River is only in 2 stories though, and Rory is only in 4. Amy is in all of them. This also includes returning villains such as the Daleks and the Weeping Angels, but also includes new villains such as Atraxi, Smilers and Saturninians. So let's get into this video. In last place, you probably aren't that surprised to see this, is The Lodger with a 6.2. Now, my sister Layla actually really likes this episode. I don't very much. It's okay. It's a very mediocre episode. Any episode that's rated below 6 I actually don't like, and there's really not many of those. It's under 15. The vast majority I do quite like, but this one's very meh. It can be argued it's just a filler episode before the finale, something that they just whipped together because they realised that there was an episode missing. Craig is quite good, and he's a very funny character. I'd class him as a proper companion. I'd say there's 19 proper companions, and Craig is one of those since he does return in the penultimate story of Series 6, which I will do a video of tomorrow. It's got a fairly weak plot, like the house was building itself for TARDIS upstairs. That was quite weird, but it's mainly a character piece more than anything. It's very light-hearted and shows what the Doctor would be like if he was just an ordinary person living in a house. Or not so ordinary in this case. So, next place in 9th we have The Vampires of Venice with a 7.4. Now if this is one of the worst that the series can produce, it's not that bad. It's a 7.4, so I'd consider it at least good. It's anywhere from meh to good. It's quite a memorable episode actually. When someone mentioned Series 5 to me, I picture this alongside others. But it had some weird subplots, like at the start where, like with the other guy whose daughter went to the school and became a vampire. I thought there were a couple of subplots like that which were pretty unnecessary. But the Doctor was very good in this episode. However, it was what I call a companion episode. I don't know if you've heard this term before, but basically an episode that focuses on the companions more than the Doctor itself. I can't think of any classic episodes that follow this format except Survival, but in the new era I'd say Smith and Jones, Turn Left and The Vampires of Venice are all companion episodes. However, it's a very easy watch, and quite a good episode. Next up, we have Victory of the Daleks with a 7.7. You're probably expecting this to be low down in the list, but still for me to give it a lower score than 7.7. It's a very hated episode, and I don't really see why. I sort of get where they're coming from, but I quite like it. It's a historical episode. It's set during World War II with Winston Churchill, and I don't really like historicals that focus on a particular famous person, but there are some exceptions. This is one. It's a very memorable episode, another one of the episodes I think about when someone mentions Series 5 to me, and some people do argue it's just filler because the BBC signed a deal with Terry Nation that every series would have to have Daleks, which they actually broke in Series 6. And it does get a bit crazy at the end with all the Spitfires in space firing at the Dalek ships. That was a bit weird. But I do like how the Daleks basically won in this episode. There were some confusing twists, like the man you see on the left, he was a robot built by the Daleks to build some more of them, and then he turned out to be a bomb, but then he became human and wasn't one. It was just quite a confusing plot twist. So now we're getting on to some pretty good episodes. In 7th place is Vincent and the Doctor. Now, I know what you're thinking, how could he put this there? It's supposed to be in the top 3, or even top 2. I think this is an incredibly overrated episode. I've still given it a 7.9, because it's a very decent episode. It's emotional and powerful, definitely, and depicts Vincent van Gogh's depression quite well, but it's got a pretty weak plot. I was going into this episode expecting a really crazy plot that was really good, and we just got this weird sort of chicken monster thing, and it's another one of those episodes where it's a historical that focuses on a famous person. This is another one of those exceptions where it's still quite good. It's a very memorable episode, not as memorable as some of the others, but I think it's a really powerful episode. In 6th place we have the 2-parter, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. This is the 4th story in this series, I think, and it is the first introduction of River since The Forest of the Dead and Silence in the Library. Now, I definitely prefer Forest of the Dead to... I definitely prefer... Why was I mentioning Forest of the Dead? Anyway, I definitely prefer the first part of this, The Time of Angels, to Flesh and Stone. Mainly because Flesh and Stone was really complicated with the whole forest thing. I think that's why I said Forest of the Dead. But, yeah, it just gets quite confusing how there's a forest in this big spaceship with weeping angels. It just doesn't really make that much sense. I wish it had kept the original setting it had before. In this 2-parter, Amy's pretty pointless. She doesn't really do much except get locked in a room with a weeping angel and have to have her eyes shut for the entire second part. And it's quite a difficult 2-parter to watch. Most 2-parters I can watch in one sitting fairly easily, but this one I struggle to. It's got a quite confusing plot, but it's still a very good episode. I like the Weeping Angels, and I think it's quite underrated. River is as good as always, and so is the Doctor. Now we're getting on some really good episodes. In 5th place we have The Beast Below with an 8.5. Another really underrated episode. I think most of the stories in this list, maybe except The Lodger, are either underrated or overrated in my opinion. So this is the 2nd story and the first time Amy properly travels in the TARDIS, and I wish that this had been much later in the series, maybe even after... spoilers. Maybe even after Rory was erased from existence, and mainly because he gets so annoyed at Amy that we actually question whether he will keep her or not, but because it's so early then we know he will, because usually they don't do companion changes mid-series, unless it's Series 7. It's quite a creepy episode actually, the whole Smilers and we're sending you down to the Beast Below, but it's quite a light-hearted episode in the sense that the Beast was actually quite nice and the people who were operating the machine were bad. It's got quite good side characters. There was that Liz 10 person, she was quite good, and I wish she'd been a proper companion, and it's just a really fun watch. So in 4th place we have the Silurian 2-parter, The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, set in the autumn of 2020. I can't wait for the Silurian invasion this year. I definitely prefer the Silurians' updated creature design. It definitely was in need of that after the 3rd and 5th Doctor stories with them. That wasn't the best. And I actually really like Rory in this, a lot more than Amy, even though I do in general, but still. Rory's kind of off doing his own thing, and I actually think Arthur Darvill, who plays Rory, would actually make a great Doctor. And I definitely prefer Cold Blood to to the Hungry Earth, mainly because of all the negotiations that the humans and Silurians are making, and the emotional send-off we have for Rory before he's introduced 3 stories later. So, yeah, this is a really solid story, and that is why I've rated it 8.6. Now, starting off the top 3, we have the finale, the Pandorica opens and the Big Bang, which I have given a 9.1. This is an incredible episode. It's not as big a finale as the Russell T Davies finales, like Army of Ghosts Doomsday, the Utopia 3-parter, and The End of Time. It's a more easier watch. It's got very good side characters. Not side characters, by that I mean companions, Amy and Rory. How Rory guards Amy in the Pandorica for 2,000 years. That was really good, and I was actually really surprised to see him. The first time he's kind of heard, I just think, is that Rory? And then I realised, it just sounds like him, because obviously he had his back turned, and then he shows his face, and it's really good. I wish I started this channel earlier so I could do reaction videos for these things. But then again, I was only 5 years old. This was a very timey-wimey episode, as I call it. It's got a lot of time travel in it. At first, Eleven appears out of nowhere in front of Rory the Roman and just gives him the sonic screwdriver, and it's pretty confusing, but by the end we understand it all. It's got a bit of a complicated plot at the end, how the Doctor's forgotten by everyone and then remembered again, and it sets up a Christmas Carol right in the right way, how Amy and Rory get married at the end. So, in second place, we have The 11th Hour, the opening story in this series. 9.2 I've given it. This was a really, really good episode. In my opinion, it was the best series opener out of all of them, not including Classic Who, with Classic Who as Spearhead from space. And it has quite an interesting villain. It's Prisoner Zero, who is being guarded by the Atraxi, has escaped from a prison and is on Earth. Now they've got to return the prisoner to the Atraxi, otherwise Earth will get blown up, and the Doctor has 20 minutes to save the world, and it's really, really good. At first I thought Amelia would actually be the companion, little Amy, and I was actually wrong, but I thought it would have been interesting to have a child companion. And the 11th Doctor is brilliant as always. Every Doctor has an episode where I finally click and see them as the Doctor, and I really like them. And 11th Doctor, this is the episode. This very first episode is what immediately got me liking the 11th Doctor. In first place, if you've been keeping track of the episodes, is Amy's Choice, which I've given a 9.4. This, in my opinion, is a masterpiece of an episode. Anything from 9 upwards, in my opinion, it's a masterpiece. This is basically Amy choosing which life she wants. Life travelling in the TARDIS with the Doctor, or life in a house with Rory. The Dream Lord, played by Toby Jones, is really good in this, and I quite like how it's an evil version of the Doctor. And it's basically the Doctor, evil side, torturing him. It's really good. And I wish he could come back at some point. I thought that would be good. But the villain design could be better for the world where they're in that village. I think that was a bit weird, how they had that thing coming out of the mouth. But that's the only criticism I have towards this episode. It's got really good visuals. Lots of it's what I call eye candy. And it's got a really nice twist, how they're both dreams. So this was really good, and I really like the TARDIS team in this. The Doctor, Amy and Rory work really well in this series especially. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, where I'm going to be doing 2 videos ranking the episodes of Series 6 and Series 7. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm not going to force you to, but I'd really appreciate it if you did. And if you comment on this video, then I will give you a shout out in the next video, if it's actually a meaningful comment and not just, I want to shout out. Also, in a few days' time I'm going to be doing a Q&A, so in the comments ask any questions you have about my opinions on Doctor Who, not the spin-offs though, because I haven't watched them. So, I will see you guys tomorrow, where I'll rank Series 6 and 7, and I guess, see ya.